So I asked you guys for questions. And did you give me questions? What is up, Finn fans? If my voice sounds funny, it's because I'm getting over being sick or I'm starting to get sick. I'm like in the midst of it. I'm in the throes of it, if anyone watched Curb Your Enthusiasm. So my voice kind of sounds a little low. But I'm doing the Q&A. Also, when you guys hit me up, said you sent me a package, it is delivered to my P.O. Box. I think somebody else is also sending me a package that is going to my P.O. Box. I will be checking my P.O. Box later today. So I think in tomorrow's video, I'll open up whatever I got, the P.O. Box. Again, if you want to send me anything, don't feel like you need to. P.O. Box is linked in the description. Let's start with YouTube. Shkaplow. This one is from Josh, and he says, Q&A, how long has the Dolphins O-line been an issue / when was the last time it was solid? I could be wrong, but I remember even Ryan Tannehill had record low times to get rid of the ball. It feels like it's been that way for a long time. I appreciate your take and knowledge of the game. 2016, the Unicorns. I think that was the last time we had a good offensive line. When J.J. went off, we went to the playoffs, beat Buffalo in Buffalo to clinch a playoff spot. That was the last time we had a good offensive line. Consistently, though, like year in and year out, it's been an issue, and it's been a while. Let's just leave it at that. Next, we have Jay. He says, do you think Dolphins call some teams that have stacked depth at corner that can bring competition? Yes, actually, I read an article from a Kansas City Chiefs writer talking about how they have a stacked cornerback room, and they should keep in touch with the Dolphins about potentially trading one of them. I will make a video about that depending on who we sign as a corner. But yeah, there's teams out there that could potentially have depth that the Dolphins could get, grab up a hold of. This one's from Russell. Russell says, Q&A, do you think our offensive line has improved with their additions to it? Yes. But you also have to take into account the loss of Teron Armstead. But I think with the addition of James Daniels, I think it has gotten better. Sorry if I'm blowing through these. I have a lot to get through, and I want to make sure I answer all your questions. Q&A question of the day. Do you think the Dolphins will continue to looking at corners, making market being our secondary still questionable? Great job on the video work. Keep up the awesome work. I appreciate you, Random Ray 1. Yeah. They have been consistently in talks with Rasul Douglas, kind of keeping an eye on him. Asante Samuel Jr. kind of being like, how's your neck? And how's your dad? Talking with, potentially Stephon Gilmore. They've been probably, talking with a lot of people about coming to the Dolphins. This is a long one. That's what she said. If Tua and McDaniel don't work out this year and are let go, what type of quarterback and head coach combination would you like to see brought in? For example, I like Mike Tomlin as an option if Pittsburgh doesn't get it done this year. I like signing an older bridge free agent quarterback with a young high draft pick quarterback behind him to sit and learn. A lot like Fitz and Tua, except don't throw your quarterback to the wolves or bring them in too early like we did with Tua. Also, I want a head coach that prioritizes the O-line and run game over speed and athleticism. Thanks, Doug. Keep up the hard work. I appreciate you, Dylan. I want an experienced head coach. So if Mike Tomlin is a possibility, yes, 100% yes. And quarterback-wise, yeah, I'm not against what you said. If the Dolphins do fall flat on their face, I could see them selling everything at the trade deadline. And, 2026 has a lot of good quarterbacks. You just have to get in the top 5, and you could definitely grab one of them. So, yeah, I agree with your assessment. I want a veteran head coach. And, I would be totally down with grabbing a vet and then grabbing a rookie. So, yeah, I agree with that. David said, do you think needs to happen? I'm assuming you say, what do you think needs to happen to get Tua to the next stage in terms of winning the big games? Assuming he can't beat the injury bug, this is the next big hurdle. He has to stay healthy. First and foremost, over anything, he has to stay healthy. Also, he has to... There are certain things that certain elite quarterbacks, and this is why I don't think Tua is elite, that can overcome. right? That can make things happen, that can, oh, hey, my offensive line is struggling here. I will compensate in this area. He needs to learn that. Now, can he, will he? I'm not saying no, but that's something he needs to start to figure out. Things get crazy. Things, they takes this away. Okay, on the fly, learn to go here. Because when someone will take something away from him, if he has time to look at film and game plan for it, he works on it. But it's in-game stuff. Like if in-game they take something away, or if they're setting a blitz a certain way and your offensive line can't figure it out, yes, the head coach has to do everything, and yes, not everything, but has to do something, and it's a team aspect. But if you want Tua to be that next level, like a Joe Burrow, who, look at what he did when he had nothing around him. Josh Allen, everyone thought they were in a rebuild. Look at what he did. He has to be able to take that next step and take that I'll put the team on my back situation. Can he? I don't know. Not saying no, not saying yes, but that's, he has to stay healthy and he has to take the next leap. Doug, I have the belief that Storm Duck could be solid number 2 option, so Cater can go to the slot. I think Storm showed many great traits in the Raiders game, but we also can't overlook his Thanksgiving game in Green Bay. What do you think about his future in Miami, future long-term depth player or potential cornerback too? He had a good year for an undrafted free agent. I don't want to put Cater on the boundary. He just doesn't, he struggles there a little bit. But if he can, it's him and Ethan Bonner. Yes. These guys, if they can take that next step, and Cam Smith, he was a 2nd-round pick. He needs to take the next step. Then all of a sudden, we sign a corner, and then it might not be a necessity to keep that corner because we have the young guys, and then we don't have to use draft picks or potential future cap space to bring in corners. But I would love for Storm Duck to show up and Ethan Bonner to show up, and then all of a sudden we have our guys in Cam Smith. But, we have to see it. I'm not going to sit here and say it's going to happen. They've showed promise. We have to see it. So I hope so. Let me just leave it at that. Marty, for the 100th time, Doug, where'd you get that hoodie at? Any clothes or apparel you see me wearing that are Miami Dolphin, they're either gifted to me from my parents, or I bought them on the NFL shop or in Miami. So, if you're like, ooh, this hat, where did you get this hat? Well, this is the draft hat. I got it online, and it's probably not available anymore because the draft is over, so you probably can't find it online. There's a hat over there. That one here, that was also a draft hat. You can't find that anymore because you have to buy it during the draft. All of my hoodies, I got them online. If they're not there anymore, it's because I got them probably like 5 or 6 years ago. So anything you ever see me wearing, you're like, where'd you get that from? Online. I live in Jersey, so anything I get is online. Hey, Doug, I've always wanted to know, since I became a fan in 2020, coming from a Bama fan, I've noticed that most of the Dolphin fan base aren't really fond of Alabama, and I've always wanted to know why. Is it because of Saban? I know, kind of random of a question, so my bad for that. For me, it is Saban. He burned me bad. I thought with Nick Saban, I thought we could have been something really good. Also, he kind of screwed the pooch on the whole Culpepper Breeze situation. But me personally, I think if Saban would have stayed, I think we could have become something really good of a team. So for me, yes, it is Saban. Once he told us, no, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not going where. That's the thing. If he never said, I'm not going anywhere, and he didn't say anything, and then he was like, look, I'm going to Alabama, I'd be like, whoa. I wouldn't be as mad. It's the fact that he told us multiple times he's not leaving, and then he left for Alabama is why I don't like Alabama. He's not there anymore, so I don't care about Alabama, to be honest with you. I can't speak for other Dolphin fans. I know some Dolphin fans are Alabama fans, some aren't. But for me, that's why I'm not. With a healthy Tua, is the team that is being assembled a playoff team? Right now, no. The secondary still scares me, and the depth on the offensive line still scares me. And there's still some injury concerns on the offensive line. If they get me some depth on the offensive line and bring in like Rasul Douglas, yeah, I'll put him at that playoff team cusp, right, in the 10-win, team. But as of right now, they still need to add like maybe two more pieces to that. Jim keeps me alive. It doesn't for me. Hypothetically, if Tua wins an award, hypothetically, for an example, like an MVP, but the Dolphins don't make the playoffs, do you think we will keep or will we move on from him? I think if we don't make the playoffs, I think McDaniel's gone and I think Greer's gone. Like, say Tua has a year like Joe Burrow, again, hypothetically, but the team falls flat on its face, so Greer and McDaniel are gone. I think it all depends on the coach that's coming in. So, like, if a coach is coming in and your thought process is, I have a top 10 pick, but I have a quarterback that just won league MVP, that's what you'd have to think. But, he wins MVP, it'll shut a lot of people up. It really would. This one's from Brennan. He says, what do you think is the legit reason why the Dolphins haven't signed a corner? Are they good with what they have? Please, God, no. From what I know, they wanted to get rid of Ramsey first, and now that they got rid of Ramsey, they are back out touching base. And a lot of it also probably has to do with, like, Rasul Douglas. They met with Rasul Douglas. They gave him a contract. He said not enough. Rasul Douglas then went to Seattle, met with them. They offered a contract. He said not enough, and now he's just sitting back and waiting. Asante Samuel Jr., they're trying to check on his health. Same thing with, Stephon Gilmore, probably, health issues and all that stuff. So that's why, but again, the vets have to report on the 22nd, so I could see something happening sooner rather than later. What's your fantasy outlook for Achane this season? I am a jinx when it comes to fantasy. I show my fantasy team every year and everyone gets mad at me. You don't have any Dolphins on your fantasy team. I am a jinx. If I were to draft Achane, he would probably suck this year. So I'm not even going to give you my fantasy outlook for Achane because I don't want to jinx him. I am a jinx. So he's going to do horrible this year. Don't draft him. Let's say the Dolphins make it to the Super Bowl. If that ever happens, are you the type that would watch it around friends, in a bar, at a party, etc., 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 etc.? I'm sorry. Or would you watch it by yourself without any commotion going around in the background? I would watch it here. I would live stream it here with me and my dad, maybe my friends. I'd have people in here with me, whatever, but I am here. I'm here with you guys. Whoever's also here with me, we are all watching it together. That's if the Dolphins make the Super Bowl, that's why I'll be right here live streaming it for you. It's just funner that way. Q&A, I have another question. What's your opinion on Greer? On the last month with Jalen Ramsey trade or the Jonnu trade or the trading for Waller? And do you think it was a smart idea to make those moves? The Jonnu Ramsey trade was very smart, especially getting Mika back. I think that was a great move. Waller, it's low risk, high reward type move, and I don't think they're done with tight end because you don't know if Waller's going to be here week one. He's still in the doghouse for me. And here's your first question. Was it smart for the Dolphins to trade away Jonnu even though we don't have any good tight ends? Yeah, they weren't going to pay him $12 million. It is what it is. Frank, what are your thoughts on the O-line? We put Band-Aids on the gushing wound this offseason. Has Greer ever worried about the O-line? If Jonah and if Jonah plays as well as I hope he does, if James Daniels comes back healthy from his Achilles injury, and if Austin Jackson plays like he did before he got injured, I think this is a solid offensive line. But you got to realize these are big boys crashing into each other, so injuries tend to happen. So let's hope it doesn't. With the new trades and reevaluation of trading draft capital in the 2027 draft away, even though they are low on picks, do you think these moves indicate that McDaniel and Greer have been told their jobs are safe? No. From what I know, that isn't the case at all. And they only traded the 2026 sixth round pick. They got a fifth for 2027. So they still have one, two, two threes, and potentially two fours next year because of the comp for Javon Holland. So from what I know, they have not been indicated that their job is safe. There's a little bit more. Let me scroll down a little bit. If the season goes from 17 to 18 plus games, would it be best? What would it be best? Do you think it would be best? Would it be to give an extra bye week? Would it be best to give an extra bye week, or would it be best to allow teams to increase rosters from 51 to 65 to 70 to account for injuries? Question 2, can you ask Omar Allen Poupart, ask McDaniel where his thoughts are in integrate? How long is this integrating a new version of the Wildcat? Also, you have a new desk. Should we expect different routines for when we score, like 3 and outs and stuff, and 3-point attempts? That's a question. That is a question and a half. If they go to 18 games, I expect 2 bye weeks, and I expect the trade deadline to be moved as well. And I think things will be pushed that the Super Bowl is on President's weekend, so you get that Monday off. I'll ask them, but they'll probably tell me no. Also, I don't know if you're gonna get new things with my desk. Oh, there's a lot of questions. With the addition of Fitzpatrick, do you think he can play corner for us? No. I think he's going to be all over the defense, though. I think you're going to see Weaver use him very well. Oh, what would your 53-man all-time roster for the Dolphins look like? I actually made that video a long time ago. If you want to search it on the channel, I might do another one, but I already did that. And also, to answer that question, it'd be very, very long. If the Dolphins have a bad season, will they fire McDaniel and Greer and get rid of Tua? McDaniel and Greer will be gone. Tua probably be dependent on who the new GM and coach is. But like I showed you guys, they could save a lot of money by trading Tua. If Tua has a fully healthy season, where do you see us finishing? And also, if he doesn't, do you think that's the end of the line for him? If he stays fully healthy, I could see us winning at least 9 games, between 9 and 11 games. And if he isn't healthy, yes, I do think this is the end of the line for him. I think the Dolphins probably will give up on him, trying to hope and pray he stays healthy. If you could have dinner with one sports player and get a lot of signed things from them and be best friends with them, who would it be? I don't want to be best friends with a guy that's my dad's age, because I would love to talk to Dan Marino. I'd love to just sit down and talk to Dan Marino. Oh, that's a good question. Like, I'd love to talk to Jason Taylor. I'd love to talk to a lot of Dolphin players and just pick their brains and see, like, their thought process. I'd love to sit down with Tua and, off the record, kind of see the truth behind things. Because a lot of people spread lies and assumptions out there about Tua. He can't read a defense. He doesn't study playbooks. He's lazy. He's this, he's that. And people don't know anything that the man does, except for pictures that you've seen. You don't know when they were taken. How many corners do you think we will sign, and who? I think they'll sign 2. And I think Rasul Douglas is one of them. I think that is going to be the guy that we bring in, especially because we already offered him a contract. Do you think the Dolphins might go with the youth movement in the corner room and potentially not sign a cornerback in free agency? And how would you feel about that? It would make me uneasy. But if the front can get pressure and consistently sack quarterbacks, then I'll feel better. Hey, Dog, long-time fans since your inception on YouTube sphere. My question is on Cam Smith. He is going. Can you pick up a trend? He's going to the 3rd season, and that's when judgment is usually reserved. But it seems everyone has already gave up on him. Why is that? I think because the chances he got were not good, and I think his attitude wasn't good, but maybe he can turn it around. Also, if Vic Fangio gave up on him, and then you had 2 defensive coordinators, Vic Fangio and Anthony Weaver, kind of say, like, oh, he's not ready, and it was a lot. We'll see how he does this year. Taylor Ham or pork roll? Taylor Ham. I see that there's 2 replies. Which player on the current roster would you say is your favorite, and why? Also, what player on our roster excites you the most this upcoming season? So which player on the current roster would you say is your favorite, and why? I love Jalen Phillips. He's my guy. I see such great potential for him if he could just stay healthy. And again, that's not even his fault with the injury bugs. I love him. I love Chop. I'm a pass rusher guy. I used to play the position, so I'm huge fans of those 2 guys. And that's what I'm most excited about, seeing those 2 and Chubb really get after quarterbacks. Like, I'm really, really excited about that. So yeah, next one. Q&A. Who is your favorite player on this team, this year, rookie and players? Hold on. on. let me collect my thoughts. Who is your favorite player on the team this year? Rookie and player. So two guys. Okay, I see what you're saying. Rookie. Jonah. Yeah. You guys see my reaction when we drafted him? And I kind of answered the other part with the pass rushers. I also am Ollie Gordon. I like him a lot too. I'm overly optimistic. I see them staying healthy, and our first two picks exceeding expectations. My concern is McDaniels switching and going strong ground game, but getting distracted and falling into old habits. Can McDaniels stay disciplined with the run game, especially if it has early success? I hope so, man. I really hope so, because that's when the team does the best. That's when Tua is effective, when the defense has to be honest to the run game, and then Tua can just carve you up. So I hope he does, but I don't know, to be honest with you. I can't sit here and tell you yes or no on that. Do you think Chop will become even better? If so, how? And do you think Kenny G can have a helpful impact to Chop, etc.? I like taking more pressure and freeing up Chop. Yeah, I think Chop, if you notice, he started getting better as the year went on. So I think another year under Weaver is really going to help him. And yeah, I think Kenneth Grant is going to help. I think Sealer is also going to help. I think also Phillips and Chubb is going to help, because you got to remember, for a good portion of the season, he was by himself and he was still getting pressure. So it's another year of him learning the speed of the game and also learning his own techniques. Doug, after sitting down on this trade for a while, I've come to think trading Jonnu was ultimately leave little impact on the Dolphins and for Steelers. Do you see the reasons why? I've come to think that trading Jonnu will ultimately leave little impact on the Dolphins and for the Steelers. Do you see the reasons why? I do, because I think he was a production of the offense. They utilized his strengths with the yak, and they built off it. I don't see him doing as great with the Steelers because he has a deep tight end room that he has to compete with. The Dolphins have the stigma of not developing their young players, and I think that's because they've never get to the field on a consistent basis. I feel that they're always trying to get established veterans instead of committing to the young guys and letting them take their lumps and hone their crafts during the regular season. Why do you think they have that stigma of not developing their players? It depends. If the player's developing fast enough and if the player's developing in camp and practice, you play. If you practice well, you play. And if you're not practicing well, they want to win. So they're not going to throw you out there and hope and pray that somehow it clicks for you and then they lose the game because you have a blown coverage or you have a blown protection or you drop the ball or you fumble or you throw an interception. So you have to practice well and you have to do the things well, and then you get on the field. Who do you think the Dolphins should get next, and do you think we won that trade? I do think the Dolphins won that trade, especially because one of the players already had a foot out the door, and I think they go cornerback next. I still have Twitter, and we're at 20 minutes, so I'm trying to get through this quick. What if worst case scenario occurs and Miami isn't able to trade for a quarter at a tight end, and they start the season with a group? What starters at both positions and who will work out? Again, that might happen, but I don't think they'll trade for anyone. I think they'll sign somebody, so I think we'll be good. Are the Finns overlooking the value of having a lefty backup behind Tua, not switching directions and motions of plays? No, it's not about the arm you throw with. It's about the quickness, the fast decision making, and all that stuff. Do you think McDaniels' play calling will improve this year? It better. It better. What was the most surprising thing you learned in your 7 years of Dolphins media? People take a lot out on you. I'm talking me. The Dolphins lose, I'm a punching bag for people. People are overcritical of things. If you make one little mistake, like saying a name wrong or a jersey number wrong, and they harp on it, they get on you. Gotta have tough skin when you do this because some people are relentless. What music do you listen to? Anything, pretty much anything. I don't like techno. I don't like country. Some country I'll listen to. I'm more of a metal, rock, alternative rock type of guy. Really lately into Ginger and Spirit Box. One of my all-time favorite bands, obviously Metallica. I love Killswitch. Those are the type of music I listen to. Do you think we can learn Asante? Do you think we can learn Asante Samuel Jr. and Rasul Douglas? I'm assuming you mean like get them. I think those are one of the two guys that they get. Do you think Mika trade was a good one? Yes, I do. I know Ramsey was gone either way, but I'm upset after losing Jonnu, and the Steelers fan told me Mika is on a decline. Don't listen to Steelers fans. Don't listen to Steelers fans. Q&A, if the Dolphins end up with a 7-10 record, but the offense is a top 7 unit, do you think McDaniel gets fired? Yes. Why does everyone automatically say the O-line is bad, even though we have 2 brand new starters and Paul is going to his first season as a real starter? Wouldn't that make them unproven, not necessarily bad? I think being unproven makes them bad. You don't know what you have, and it could be bad. Why isn't the front office brought in a legit backup quarterback for Tua? Even if we consider offensive schemes, their choices in backups leaves me much to desire. Do you think the way things were handled during the Fitzpatrick era has something to do with it? I think it has a lot to do with it's not Tua. And a lot of people want to make it into a Tua's fragile type of situation. It's not Tua. They've been doing this forever. Name the legit backup they brought in for Ryan Tannehill. Like, this is something the Dolphins organization has done forever, and I don't know why. It's not a Tua fragile thing. It makes no sense to me. I think the last good backup we had was Matt Moore. So I don't know why. Projection-wise, what's the health? With health, could Tua crack 70,000 career passing yards to get to his top 10 all-time passing leader? I don't know how far off he is, but if he stays healthy, maybe. I'd have to see how far off he is. And then this is the last one. With Mika at free safety, we can have Melfanu move to slot, cater to the boundary. Will this ease your pain a little, as I believe the remaining cap will be a new tight end and depth of the O-line? No, because cater is not good in the boundary. Now let's go to Twitter. I'll try to bang these out quick. This is from my man Cameron. He says, what's up, Doug? What are your anticipating to be this year's captains? Tua, Brewer, Ingold, Chubb, Sealer, Mika, Sanders. The Dolphins dum-dum. He says, how often are Chubb, Chop, and Phillips going to be on the field together, and who will get the most third down snaps? I don't know, probably not a lot, but that would be amazing if they had all 3 of them and you took like Chop and put him at middle linebacker. Be amazing. Kosayan Gay says, thoughts on Tua with this GIF? I want him to stay healthy. Umbreon Untamed. I hope I said your name right. If you were to restructure 2 contracts on the team to open up cash for players for this season to come in, who would you choose? Not restructure, but give extensions, which also would do the same thing. Brooks and Sealer. You give them extensions, that opens up cap space. I have a question for Marsalis. When are you going to give us a July record prediction? Never. Do you think the Dolphins are better off with Mika, Darren Waller, and hypothetically one Rasul Douglas, Asante Samuel than they were with Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith? Here's the thing, though. You got to think about it this way. You got to take Jalen Ramsey out of this. Jalen Ramsey was never going to play for the Dolphins. So you got to take him out of this. So you have to ask the question, are the Dolphins better with Mika, Darren Waller, and hypothetically Rasul or Asante Samuel than they were with just Jonnu? Yes, I do think they were or are. Thoughts on our O-line is the real question. I'm salty tattooed to a we trust. B, solid. What's your opinion about the changes that need to be made if the Dolphins don't make the playoffs? Clean house, burn it down, fresh eyes, all of them gone. All of them gone. I wrote mine on your video. Thank you, humble being. Sad Dolphin says, question 1. How's the journey from starting the channel to now? Long, hard, pause on that, and tenuous, but I love it. I loved every second of it. 7 years of doing this. I give you guys at least 5 videos a week, sometimes more. Like this week, I'm giving you more than 5 because I gave you 2 a day. I love it. I love doing everything and every bit of this. I love every single one of you. Do you play Madden? Yes, I do. Not competitively, not as competitively as I used to. Josh Allen? If you could choose one cornerback free agent to sign that would make us better, who would it be? Rasul? Yeah, I'd probably go Rasul Douglas because the Dolphins probably aren't going to play much man, and Asante Samuel Jr. is more of a man corner. Which undrafted rookie should we expect to show off at camp, possibly make the roster? The wide receiver, Andrew. The wide receiver. And maybe one of the I gotta look up the undrafted free agents. Blah, 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 blah. Andrew Armstrong. I can see him doing really well. Also, I'm hearing good things about one of the corners. Oh, yeah, I'm hearing good things about one of the corners. Yeah. Next question. Do you think the Dolphins are done exploring tight end position? No, I do not. What is Chris Greer smoking? I don't know, but he needs to put it down. If Chris Greer is doing his job to the best of his ability by acquiring future picks like in this year's draft and the Jonnu trade, or is he moving like a guy who knows he's not on the hot seat? No. Like I said, he's on the hot seat. Do you believe Chris Greer and McDaniel have done enough to actually change the culture in Miami? No. I got merch coming for that too, just so you guys know. Thoughts on what the Jonnu trade means in terms of Tanner Conner, Julian Hill development and the position group focusing this season? I don't think it really changes much. I think Waller's kind of, like Omar said, he's kind of testing the waters to see if he mentally can do this again. So, as things stands, what's your record prediction? Give me 9 wins. I don't know. New office tour? When? Sure. I'll give you guys an office tour. If you're a Patreon and member. I know I did one last time on the Patreon and membership. And that's only because I know a good portion of the people who are subscribed to this channel probably don't give 2 farts about an office tour. So if I do one, I'll let you know. But that's it. I think I did pretty well. I got them all in about 30 minutes. Yeah, if I didn't answer your question or I didn't answer it properly, comment below and I'll try to answer it better. I didn't want to make this too long and you guys killed it with these questions. Love you all. Thank you all. Like I said, 7 years of doing this. I love doing these Q&A videos. I feel like I get to talk to you. I'm going to go live when? Maybe next Wednesday because Dolphin Collective is taking a break. So I'm going to go live to chat with you guys one day at 7 o'clock. Let me know what day is best for you. But on that, I'll see you tomorrow. We are talking about defensive line. Like usual, stay classy and fins up.